My bad. Welcome back, guys. It's been a while. We're back this time with finally making some progress on the front of the Suburban. As you can see, we got some tube front going on. We ended up bending up a bunch of tube, throwing some shock hoops in there, and throwing that together. Yes. We finally got the front coilovers in. We got them mounted. This episode, you're going to see everything that we did up to this point. We need to work on the front, and working at the end of the driveway is less than desirable, so we're going to try to turn this thing around. Getting a little creative, and just hoping everything will go well.
So we got no brakes,
No brakes.
no suspension,
No suspension.
parts are just tacked in place,
Yep.
and the seat's not secured.
Fact.
Should be fun.
Oh yeah. And there's no trans cross, remember? Have it. We got this bad boy moved around. A little bit of creativity and sketchiness. Could it have been done easier? Probably. Could we have just waited to get everything put together before we did this? Probably. But where's the fun in that?
No brakes, no seats, no suspension. No problem.
So to start the process of building the tube front, we needed to get a visual of how the old front end was set up, because originally I was going to do a dove nose regardless. Now I'm still torn whether I want to do square or dove nose. But we designed it off the dove nose, so we put the fender back in position to see where it's set, and we could get a visual of how the tube needed to be bent. For our main mounting location, we did go back to the A-pillar where the fender bolts up, figuring that would be one of the best support points to put the front on.
Yep. Chris made some 1/8" boxes, basically welded them onto the A-pillar, and that was the foundation for the tube frame.
And initially, the idea behind the front end is the sidebars were going to come down and go at an angle down to the side of the frame, and then we were going to do a crossbar up top. But as much as everybody likes to say you should measure twice and cut once, or measure 40 times and cut once, it doesn't matter how many times you measure if you measure from the wrong spot every time.
The first tube we had to scrap because we wanted it to come out and then go down to the frame. It was way off, and it put this whole front tube right about down like 6 inches lower than where we anticipated it being, and would not have worked how we wanted it to at all.
Yeah, radiator wouldn't have fit very well.
I consider myself beginner at tube bending. Like, we've only built a few things. We don't do it every day. We haven't done it for almost a year. So it takes, once you get back into it, you kind of will get back in the flow, but just prepare yourself, because when your tubing is almost like, what, $4 a foot, whenever you have to scrap a 6-foot piece and you can't buy more right now, it kind of sucks.
the second time around we did make it. We still were slightly off on the measurement. It still wasn't exactly the way I planned, but it worked out. It still fits good, it looks good, and hopefully performs just as good. For the upper and lower coilover mounts, we took some 2-inch quarter wall square tubing and used a very familiar design to mock up our own little brackets, cut them out, drill them, and weld them in.
Whenever you get your coilovers, you might have to do a little bit of setup on them. Chris's came disassembled and uncharged, so we're going to put them together real quick and charge them up with some nitrogen. So to do it, you need to pull out the shaft. You can really feel the valving working against me. So you want to extend them all the way, like that. Then you'll take off the lower spring retainer. And when you assemble the springs, you always want to make sure that your lighter spring is on top and your heavier spring is going to be on the bottom. So this is a 14-inch 200 spring on the top, and then you also have your dual rate slider that goes there. And then we have a 14-inch 250-pound spring that will go on the bottom. So you flip that over, and then we'll have to adjust the preload nut a little bit. And then slip that on. Now to set up the shock initially, you want to set it at 0 preload. So what that basically is to where the springs are touching and there's no wiggle room. So as you can see, the spring can wiggle around on the shock. So you're going to lower this down just to where everything is tight and touching. Springs aren't moving around, there's no wiggle in it. So that's going to be considered 0 preload right there, and that's how you'll put it on the truck for the first time. Now we're going to charge these up with nitrogen. You want to make sure you use nitrogen because it's an inert gas. So as the shocks get hot up to operating temperature, your pressure isn't going to change inside the shock.
Spring rates ended up being 200 over 250, which by the looks of it came out pretty darn perfect. Right now we're sitting at full bump in the rear and we're on a sloped driveway, so it's a little high in the front, but it's only about 3/4 to an inch high. For the target height, we were going for 5 inches of shaft showing, 5 to 5.5 inches, and right now we're sitting at 6 inches. I did want to put in a thing for Filthy Motorsports. That is who I ordered the coilovers through. I want to say they have been great to us. The weight, you know, anytime you order coilovers, at least from King, they're built to order, so expect it to take a while. And just know whoever you're ordering them through, like Filthy Motorsports in my case, they are the middleman in all of this. So they don't have control over how long the coilovers take to get done. So be patient with them. You know, they do what they can. I will say Filthy Motorsports has amazing customer service. They answered all the questions that I needed and put up with me emailing them every other week asking how my stuff was going.
Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think of the tube front down in the comments below. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to us. We really appreciate the support. And until next time, stay reckless. How do you think of that little ending there, stay reckless? Was it stupid? Yeah. Stupid?